Hello everyone and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another 24/7 news report. Starting off with the big news, and that Everton have confirmed that Farhad Moshiri has granted a period of exclusivity to Roma owner Dan Friedkin and the Friedkin Group. All parties will now work together to conclude this process. Big news. Quite surprising at how quickly everything has gone with the rut this club's been in for years now. You don't kind of expect things to go this smoothly with the club, but it's great to hear. Also, this comes from Il Mezzagra, sorry, I'm trying to pronounce that, Il Mezzagra, I believe it's a magazine in Rome. Dan Friedkin wants Everton and Roma to work in synergy with a special focus on academy players, which is something really good. It means we could see young players playing from our academy playing for Roma, the other way around. And I kind of like the idea of both clubs working in sync. Our club's been such a mess for so long now that to have that stability of working with another club besides us, and a club that it's not like we're working with some, out there unknown club. We're working with one of the biggest clubs in Italy, a club with fantastic history, fantastic players, and a club like Roma. And, Italian football has been a bit of a mess at times over the past years due to money issues, but at the same time, a club like Roma and seemingly someone like Dan Friedkin, who clearly has a business brain for things like this, it seems like everything's only going up for the club. And speaking of, Dan Friedkin is 100% committed to buying the club, stabilising the team's finances, and eventually getting Everton back into Europe. That comes from the Telegraph. So, yeah, if you want to know more about the whole Dan Friedkin takeover with someone who's a lot more qualified than me to talk about it, check out Ellis's video with John from the Roma Press. Fantastic video, real good insight into the Friedkin Group and really positive signs for the whole of it, with the main thing being that supporters will probably like Friedkin, which is something that's great to hear. But yeah, if you want to hear more about the whole Dan Friedkin ownership, make sure to check out Ellis's video, which will be on the channel now. Now to move into some transfer news. Everton have bid 13 million euros for Manchester City right Issa KABORE and would like to get a deal done quickly. That comes from Africa Foot. And 66% of Everton fans say yes to this. And now, while I don't have the exact stats for KABORE, I believe he played 20-odd games for Luton last season in the Premier League and looked like a real high-flying wing-back, someone who can offer real pace and power going forward. A little bit shaky defensively, but in the system Luton played, that kind of doesn't surprise me. In the team Luton had, it's hard to really pin everything on him, but he was a little bit shaky defensively, but really offers the pace that Everton need going forward, and something that we severely lacked last season when it came to counter-attacking. We didn't have that pace to really push teams on the counter-attack, and I feel like a flying wing-back like KABORE could offer something useful, and for a fee of 13 million euros, which I think 10, 11 million pounds, it's a really decent signing, I think, and it's also a positive sign for the club that, I'm going to mention it as well. We're doing a lot of business early by the looks of it to really get the core of that team ready. And so we're not making any late signings, of course, unless something pops up. But yeah, I think there's clear sign that there is some investment and that there isn't as much of a PSR issue as we thought. And of course, we will get onto that now. Speaking of, Everton and Aston Villa complete both Tim, I can't pronounce his last name. Tim I, we're going to call him, complete the deal for Tim I, and that Aston Villa have also completed a deal for Lewis Dobbin. We're paying around £9 million. The medical was done yesterday. Aston Villa and Everton working together to solve PSR problems. This is huge for us as well, because I believe it said we only needed £3.3 million to stop us from going over PSR, getting rid of Lewis Dobbin, even though I think Dobbin has potential. I just don't think he could fulfill that potential at this club the way we play right now. I think Aston Villa are going to do a much better job at developing Dobbin while we get Tim I, who's, from everything I've heard from Aston Villa fans, has tons of potential and looks like he could be that Onana replacement, or is someone who's at least going to give us a lot more depth in midfield, which I think depth is something that Sean Dyche should be focusing on, and I'm glad to see that's something it clearly may be focusing on. And this is all from Fabrizio Romano, by the way. Jack Harrison back to Everton on loan from Leeds United. The deal is done. That's great to hear. Harrison, someone who knows the club, knows how Sean Dyche works. Had his moments, had his good moments, had his bad moments, but I think having someone who's settled in with the squad, who knows the team around him, is a great move. And I think, I'm guessing it's another free loan, which is something we really can't complain about. And even if Harrison's just there as a depth option, he works hard and he has some dribbling ability to create problems for other teams. So I do think bringing in Harrison is a good move. moving on to that, there is no indication that Everton will drop their asking price on Jarrad Branthwaite. Manchester United have moved on to negotiations for other targets. That's from Sky Sports. Good. I mentioned in the last news video I was on that if Man United don't want to pay the price, they don't get the player. It's as simple as that. These clubs can't come and bully us for our players, especially now that we're in a position where PSR is not troubling us as much. I think it's a really good move to just put your foot down and go, if you want him, not. If you want him, come get him. And of course, there has been the rumours linking Real Madrid to Jarrad Branthwaite, which I think, probably means we're going to get the money we want. So I think Man United knew that there was no doing this unless they pay what we want, which is 70 million, and probably should be more than that, to be honest, with what United play for Harry Maguire. But 70 million is the price. We've told them that, and now they're off, thank God, because negotiating with them, the historically good negotiating team at Manchester United, could have been tough for us. And the last little bit of news today, Everton and Marseille have intensified talks in recent hours for Iliman Ndiaye, who has said yes to Everton and is close to an agreement. That comes from Adam from Canal Plus. Iliman Ndiaye is an interesting one. If I just load up FB Ref here, we're probably basing this more off his last season in the Championship with Sheffield United, where he got 14 goals and 11 assists in 43 starts. Someone who would play behind the striker would play that Doucouré role more than likely, but can also play out wide. I think having someone with a bit more goal threat than Doucouré in that position, and I do think Doucouré had his moments where he dropped off a little bit last season, it'd be a fantastic move. I believe it is a loan deal, and there are rumours that we're looking to use all our own, or as many of our loan deals as possible, which is 2 domestic along with 4 international loans. So I think this would be a really good move. I think Iliman Ndiaye is probably going to bring what we expected Danjuma to bring. I think he's a good player. He did only get 3 goals and 3 assists, but that was in 19 appearances. So around a goal contribution every 3 games, which is probably better than what a lot of our players were doing in that situation. But yeah, hopefully we can get a decently cheap option to buy in there as well, because I believe Ndiaye has a lot of talent, and I believe he still had his moments for Marseille from what I've seen this season. His pass completion's really good, his take-ons are really good. Having someone with that pace and dribbling ability to get around someone, something Doucouré didn't really offer in that role, is something like, it's why I did see quite a few people asking maybe give Danjuma that chance, because he offers more in a dribbling aspect than what someone like Doucouré can offer, and I think Doucouré is still a vital member of this team and has proved it over the past few years. But yeah, I think Ndiaye would be a fantastic bit of business from us. And it is, like I said earlier in the video, it's really promising to see that we're trying to get business done early, and that we're trying to get in real depth in the squad so that we have options. Because I feel like at moments last season we were really troubled by not having options. And I feel like if we did have those depth options last season, we could have finished even higher than, if we get rid of the points deduction, the 12th that we would have finished without the points deduction. But that is all for the video today. Make sure to let us know what you think about the Friedkin ownership group and the possible signings of KABORE, Ndiaye and Tim I in the comments below. Follow us on Twitter at Everton Newsfeed, and follow me on Twitter at Callum 3. And I'll see you all for the next video that I'm on. Goodbye, everyone.